Hi everybody, Rabbanit Bracha here from the Bayit, from HIR. Wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat with peace, with good tidings. I wanted to share a little thought about Chesed, kindness and acts of loving kindness and prayer. In this parashat Vayera, we read stories about Abraham, our forefather, and what really jumps out most to us is Abraham's chesed, his acts of chesed, his caring, his thoughtfulness, and his love. And I think this is something that we should be modeling as well, and we are. I want to first share, where do we see this? When Abraham is waiting in the entrance to his tent, and we know that he's recovering from circumcision, from surgery at an advanced age, he's still looking for travelers, according to the Midrash. And we know that he receives 3 travelers, the malachim, the angels. But then when they come, even though he's perhaps not feeling very well, he not only invites them in and invites them to partake of food, he might not say so much, but he does a lot. And he not only asks his na'ar, the servant, or whoever's working with him, to prepare food, but he does it himself. He partakes of the acts of loving kindness and makes sure that it gets done, and he does it quickly. He does it with joyfulness and pleasantness. And we know that when God comes to Abraham to share that God is going to destroy Sodom and because of the horrible acts that are going on in those cities, Abraham is such a compassionate heart, and he can't imagine that perhaps there would be people in those cities who are innocent or don't feel the same way, and maybe they're hidden, maybe we don't see them, but he can't imagine that they would be destroyed. And he tries so hard to talk to God and convince God and say, even if there's 45 people or 40 people, 30, 20, 10, and he realizes at some point that there are not even enough people to dissuade God, and that for whatever reason these cities deserve to die. But we do see the radical kindness from Abraham, and I want to offer a suggestion of how we can channel it in our prayer. The Amidah prayer, and I want to mention that prayer can be hard, and it can also be soothing, comforting, and sometimes we don't know where to tap into prayer. And here's my suggestion in the Amidah prayer. Every Amidah prayer, which is the central prayer of davening, of tefillah, it begins with the mentioning of our forefathers, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Continuing describing God, goes on to Gomel Chasadim Tovim, who bestows acts of loving kindness, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, and remembers the loving kindness of these fathers, and continuing on Leman Shmo B'Ahava, in the name of God, with love. But then the conclusion, we might have expected that the conclusion of this Bracha would be maybe Magen, which means shield or protector. We might have imagined it would be Magen Abraham, Magen Yitzchak v'Yaakov, or Magen Abraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov. But no, the ending is Magen Abraham, the shield or protector of Abraham. And I think that teaches us that whatever Abraham stood for and stands for, that is perhaps arguably the most important of the traits of our forefathers. And for me, and for a lot of us, Abraham stands for Chesed. So here's what I want to invite us all to do. When we stand in the Amidah prayer, let's pause, let's take the first Bracha slowly, let's think about kindness. Let's think about the kindness that we see all over Israel. I just heard somebody say, either you're called up in the army or you're volunteering, but no matter what you're doing, you're in service and you're helping. And I saw a video of 2 people who just a few short weeks ago were on opposite sides of the political spectrum and arguing about the judicial reform, and they were smiling and hugging each other as soldiers because they're supporting each other now, because that is so much more important than the political views. Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel, stands together. And the acts of loving kindness from all over the world. And it's more than that. We should each take some time, even a few moments, when we're davening, when we're saying this prayer, how can we offer kindness? Kindness can be reaching out with a text. It's a smile, it's a hug, it's sharing the heart, it's sending an emoji, it's donating money, it's listening to the other, it's caring. And to wish us all a Shabbat. When we think about Chesed, when we think about loving kindness, not enough for it to be in the heart, we should also do something with it, and think about where is it that we can offer more Chesed in this world. Sending everybody love. Shabbat Shalom, praying for the safety of our brothers and sisters in Israel, for their well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, for the safety of our soldiers. So dangerous. For the return of the hostages, for the healing of those who have been so bruised and hurt. Shabbat Shalom.